Nikola Jokic is the reigning MVP, yet he still feels underrated, or underappreciated, or maybe just misunderstood. Call it what you will, but sometimes I feel like I'm watching a unicorn and being told it's just a goofy horse. Take Jokic's scoring. He's one of the best scorers in the world, but I never hear him mentioned in that discussion. He might be the best post-up scorer in the league with a broad arsenal of efficient moves. The old-school drop step off a back down, an absolutely dead-eye fadeaway, and of course a little spinning half hook that is buttery soft. In an era where the post-up is passé, Jokic is quick to attack mismatches against smaller players. As he twirls off this screen, his defender calls for a switch, and that leaves a point guard on the 7-foot Serbian, so he instantly backs him down and drops in a 10-footer. Since so many teams switch a lot, Jokic is a tactical nightmare. Play his screening actions straight up, and he's nimble enough to score on the move. But if you switch to take away the cutters, he just abuses smaller players, walking the 6'5" Caleb Martin into the paint like a big brother schooling a younger sibling. According to Second Spectrum tracking, Joker ranks second in post-up points per game to Joel Embiid, although he shoots 59% on those shots compared to Embiid's 48%. Then there's his mid-range game, where he's practically Dirk Nowitzki. In his best 2-year stretch, Dirk shot just over 50% between 10 and 20 feet. Jokic doesn't quite have the same volume because he's busy abusing people in the low post. But since the Disney bubble in 2020, Joker shot 47.5% on nearly 700 mid-range shots. And as a friendly bonus, he's also made 38% of his threes since the lockdown, which means he can pull shot blockers like Rudy Gobert out of the paint. This makes him a great pick-and-pop partner, floating to the three-point line and dropping in soft rainbows from the rafters. He can also play the pick-and-roll game, floating in teardrops like a guard, and his touch in the paint is so soft that sometimes it feels like he's lobbing stones into a pond. Speaking of soft, his hands are like giant pillows, and these one-handed catches help him as a finisher, and they help him as an offensive rebounder. In the last 2 years, Jokic is second in the NBA in second-chance points, and we don't always think of this as part of a scoring game, but it allows teammates to fire up more shots. Then Joker one-hands misses like a water polo player for even higher percentage offense. So, he can score in a ton of different ways near the rim, in the mid-range, and from long range, which is why he's near the league leaders in scoring volume and efficiency, dropping 29 points every 75 possessions this year on 64% true shooting, giving him arguably the best scoring stats in the league right now. And yet, his passing is better than his scoring. All of the all-time offensive greats appear to hurt defenses with scoring and playmaking, and Jokic is no exception. The man makes every pass in the book, including mind-bending outlets when his guards leak out. Entry passes are a dying art, but Joker is single-handedly resurrecting them. They can appear simple, but even today's best passers can struggle lobbing entries around a fronting defender. Now here's Jokic making the same pass, only with a nearby defender on the backside, and he just feathers in a perfect completion. This one's even more impressive. Aaron Gordon gets the seal right now. Jokic is ready to loop it over the defense, and he has the smallest windows with Tobias Harris closing in, but it's a perfect pass and a layup. If you cheat over too much to help on any entry, Jokic just whips it cross court into the corner for a jumper instead. Not since the great Bill Walton have we seen someone dime up so many cutters from the top of the key, and Jokic's connections are more mobile than many of Walton's were. Here's a basic flare screen to the corner, and Jokic looks at Will Barton, but he's waiting for this defender to commit so he can drop it in the basket for Jeff Green. Imagine trying to defend this. Terry Rozier is glued to Green, he has his hands up in the passing lane, and it doesn't matter because Jokic bounces it through a keyhole. Immanuel quickly is locked in and ready, jumping out on a switch, and he leaps to take away the pass, staying in the passing lane, and that just leaves him wide open for three. When he's the roll man or in pick and pop, Jokic makes the elite passes his point guards can't make. The best playmakers hit the roll man themselves because Jokic's shooting has pulled his defender out of the paint, so he's the scorer, spacer, and passer at the same time. This one's more of a roll than a pop, and almost no big man these days is swarmed at 18 feet, but two guys go to Jokic, and that's fish in a barrel for him. Of course, he can become the lead guard himself, receiving the ball screen, then snapping one-handed deliveries to the roller. He doesn't have the flashy handle of typical point guards, but he'll make incredibly tight, advanced passes off the dribble, and he's a slow-motion savant in transition, dropping no-look layup passes like this, and Joker saw it the whole way, recognizing that Aaron Gordon's defender is behind him, and he's just waiting for Zach LaVine to make a choice, and then pinpoint accuracy on the pass. We haven't even mentioned his passing from the post, which might be unrivaled in league history. He constantly hits cutters that don't even look open, and if you try to double him, he'll just pick you apart wherever that open man is. This time the double comes from the baseline, and the floor is all jammed up, but that's child's play for Jokic. Heck, if you even think about doubling, Joker makes you pay. Zaire Williams is inching toward Jokic, who lasers a no-look pass to the corner, and does this bend in the air, or is my mind playing tricks on me? Jokic creates openings by manipulating the defense. This double leaves a lone defender on the weak side guarding two, so Jokic looks toward the shooter, which buckles the defender and leads to free throws. And this one is completely next level because he knows D'Angelo Russell likes to roam, this defender is worried about doubling him, and no one's ready for a pass right into the mouth of the Wolf. This is transcendent, all-time level mastery of a sport, on par with legendary names like Bird, Magic, and anyone else who's ever played a step ahead. Jokic is both a point guard and a big man, sometimes on the same possession, which makes Denver really tricky to guard. It looks like he's going to post up here, but instead gets a down screen to fly off of like a wing, then sees a layup here, and that's nearly perfection. He's also great at faking like he's going to screen and then slipping toward the hoop into open space. His sixth sense detects an opening here, so instead of screening, he dives to the hole and turns it into a three-point play. One-number metrics that estimate impact aren't perfect, but they give us an approximate comparison of players from different decades, and Jokic's current season holds up well against other all-time greats, at least in the box score that's driven by offense. His influence on the scoreboard looks enormous too. The Nuggets' offensive rating in the last 2 years is a staggering 13.5 points better with Jokic in the game. That's the difference between the first and 28th ranked offense this year. His defense is outside of the scope here, but it's been good enough to help the injury-riddled Nuggets stay in playoff contention. And if we look at how teams perform with their best high-minute player on the court, Denver would be the 8th best team in the league with Jokic in the game, but when he goes to the bench, Denver looks like the 3rd worst team in the league. Personally, I'd like to see a few more playoff runs before sorting out his place in history, but this is a unique generational talent who sees the game like a savant, is a sneaky great scorer, and is in the conversation with the best passers ever. So, like I said, I'm not sure if that's underrated, disrespected, or what we call it, but I do think we are watching one of the best offensive players to ever play basketball. If you want more content like this, check out the Thinking Basketball YouTube channel. The Greatest Peak series there goes into more detail on other offensive legends. Let us know what you think of this collaboration in the comments below, and if you want more content like this from the NBA. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and that you are happy